So in database management system, there's this thing called normal forms. Normal forms are basically a set of progressive rules for how you structure your relational database. And by progressive, I mean that they build on top of each other like game levels. You can't satisfy the second one without first satisfying the first one. You can't satisfy the third one without satisfying the second one, and so on and so on. If you look at this diagram, you will see that they are represented as circles inside circles. The outermost circle is the first normal form. And then we have the second, the third, and then there's this one called the Boyce code normal form. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But then there's the fourth and then there's the fifth. The idea is simple. Each inner circle represents a stricter level of organization. So as you move inward, the rules get tighter. So first normal form is like the baseline, the minimum standard, and then it gets stricter as you go deeper. Today, we're going to cover the three ones that actually matters for developers. First, second, third. So let's get into it. The first normal form. This is like the foundation, is the most basic rule. And the rule is simple. Every column in your table should hold only one value per row. That's it. No list, no comma separated value, no stuffing things together into one single cell. If you look at this table, we have the student table, we have the student ID, we have name, we have phone numbers. If you look at the first row, Bemi has 2 phone numbers and they are crammed into one cell. That violates the first normal form. Because phone numbers column is holding more than one value, right? You're already violating the first normal form in this case. So to fix this, you have 2 options. You either split it into separate rows like this, or you create a separate table for phone numbers. If your students are going to be having several phone numbers, then maybe create a separate table, right? So that way, every cell gets to hold one exact value. And that's first normal form. No double value, one value per cell, no lists, no stuffing. First normal form is just like saying, stop putting multiple things into one drawer. One drawer, one thing. If something needs more space, give it its own drawer. Don't stuff things together. Now, second normal form. This one is built on first normal form. So your table must already be in first normal form before you can think about second normal form. Remember, it's like game levels kind of thing. The second normal form rule is simple as well. Every non-key column must depend on the entire primary key, not just part of it. It sounds a bit confusing. I know. Let me show you. Say we have this table, other items table. I used this table in like another video. I found it on Twitter, I think. We have this other items table. We have order ID, we have product ID, we have product name, we have product price. The combination, the primary key in this table is a combination of the order ID and the product ID. Together, they uniquely identify the rows. But if you look at product name and product price, do they depend on the full primary key? Do they depend on which order the product is in? No. iPhone is iPhone. It costs 1,000 regardless of whether it's in order 1 or order 2. So those columns don't depend, they only depend on product ID. They don't depend on a combination of product ID and order ID. Meanwhile, our primary key is a combination of both. But those columns do not depend on both. So that's kind of like partial dependency, and it violates the second normal form. So to fix this, what do? Pull product information into its own table. Create a product table. Put it there. That way, product name, product price will live in product table where they fully depend on the primary key, which will be the product ID in that table. So all the other, and the other items table, on the other hand, can now reference the product through a foreign key. No more duplication, no more update anomalies. Second normal form is kind of like saying, put things where they belong. If something depends on products, put it in the product table, not in the others table. If it does not depend on the key of that table, it shouldn't be in that table, that kind of thing. Now, moving on to third normal form. Third normal form, at this point, we're getting a little bit stricter. And don't forget, your table must already be in second normal form before third normal form can apply. Rule is also simple. No non-key column should depend on another non-key column. Everything must depend on the primary key. Do you understand? For example, if we have the student's table, we have the student ID, the name, the department ID, the department name. The table is in first normal form, one value per cell, correct? It is in second normal form. Everything depends on the primary key. The primary key in this table is the student ID, right? But is it in third normal form? No. Because department name does not depend on student ID. It depends on department ID. You know your department ID is 10, the name is computer science. Regardless of which student is taking that department, is in that department, the department name doesn't change. So it does not depend on the student. The student ID tells you the department ID. The department ID tells you department name. The name is only indirectly related to the student. It's not directly related. It is the ID that is directly related to the student, but the name of the department is not directly related to the student. It is related to the ID. So it's like a non-key column is depending on another non-key column. So what is the fix? Have a department table. So in that case, your department's name can live where it belongs in the department table, depending directly on the department ID. The student table can now just hold the foreign key reference. So third normal form is kind of like stop storing things in a place just because they are kind of related. The department's name is kind of related to the student. It's not directly related to the student. So it shouldn't be in the student's table. That's it. So those are like the three normal forms that matters for most practical database work. The higher ones, I've never had cause to like bother about those, but I don't know if that's something that is needed to be used, then yeah. Now, this is a quick addition. In the real world, sometimes you would intentionally break normal form rules for performance reason, and it's a concept called denormalization. And there are valid reasons to do it, but you should know the rules first, of course, before you break them. You normalize first, and then you denormalize with intention if you need to, right? I think I should make a full video on denormalization. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and see you in my next video. Bye.